5 real places history tried to bury forever. What if I told you some of history's strangest places weren't lost by accident? Some were abandoned, some were hidden, and some were almost erased on purpose. Today, we're counting down 5 real places history tried to bury forever. Because history is a big jackass. And number 1 may be the most unsettling, because people are still arguing over what really happened there. Subscribe to ChronoVault, and let's open the vault. 1. The island where people vanished. Roanoke. In 1587, more than 100 English settlers arrived on Roanoke Island, hoping to build a permanent colony in the New World. Then their governor, John White, sailed back to England for supplies. When he finally returned 3 years later, the colony was gone. Just like your dad. No bodies, no battle scene, no clear sign of disaster. Just one strange word carved into a post, Croatoan. Some believe the settlers joined a nearby native tribe. Others think they were killed, starved, or scattered into the wilderness. But the creepiest part? They had agreed to carve a cross if they were forced to leave. There was no cross, which means either they left willingly, or someone made sure it looked that way. Subscribe to ChronoVault. 1. The city. Swallowed by the desert, Akhetaten ancient Egypt was built on tradition. Then Pharaoh Akhenaten came along and basically said, forget all that. He abandoned Egypt's old gods, promoted the worship of one sun god, and built an entirely new capital city in the desert. Its name was Akhetaten. For a brief moment it was the center of Egypt. Temples, palaces, officials, artists, priests. Then Akhenaten died, and Egypt did something brutal. They abandoned the city, smashed his monuments, erased his name, and tried to pretend the whole thing never happened. What a bunch of jerks. This wasn't just a lost city, it was a deleted city. And for thousands of years the desert helped keep the secret. Subscribe to ChronoVault. 1. The village beneath the lake, Kalyazin. In Russia, there is a bell tower that rises straight out of the water. No church around it, no village streets, just a tower standing alone in the middle of a flooded landscape. That tower once belonged to the old town of Kalyazin. In the 1940s, Soviet authorities flooded the area to create a reservoir. Homes, streets, cemeteries, and churches disappeared beneath the water. Most of the town was erased, but the bell tower was left standing. Now it looks like something from a ghost story. A single piece of history sticking out of the lake, reminding everyone that an entire community is still down there. Snorkeling, I guess. Doesn't make much sense, but that's what ChatGPT said, so it must be true. Subscribe to ChronoVault. 1. The underground labyrinth of Naos. In northern France, beneath ordinary fields and villages, there is an underground city. It's called Naos. And it wasn't built for tourists. It was built so people could disappear, just like your dad. During times of war and invasion, villagers hid underground in a massive network of tunnels and chambers. There were rooms for families, storage areas, chapels, and even places for livestock. Imagine an entire town silently living beneath the ground while armies passed above them. But here's where it gets even stranger. During World War I, soldiers rediscovered the tunnels and carved their names into the walls. So Naos became 2 things at once: a medieval hiding place, and a secret time capsule of soldiers who knew they might never make it home. Subscribe to ChronoVault. 1. The city that was burned, buried, and forgotten, Hattusa. Long before Rome ruled anything, there was a powerful empire called the Hittites. The Hittites. And their capital was Hattusa. This city had massive walls, stone lions, royal archives, temples, gates, and thousands of clay tablets. It was not some tiny settlement. It was a superpower. Then, around the Bronze Age collapse, Hattusa was abandoned and burned. The Hittite Empire disappeared so completely that for centuries many people barely remembered it existed. Even the Bible mentioned Hittites, but scholars once questioned how important they really were. Then archaeologists found Hattusa, and suddenly an entire lost empire came back from the dead. The tablets revealed treaties, wars, laws, letters, and diplomacy. History had almost buried the Hittites forever. but the clay remembered. Steel trap mind, that clay. Subscribe to ChronoVault. So which one is the strangest? The vanished colony of Roanoke, the erased city of Akhenaten, the drowned village of Kaliazin, the underground hideout of Naurs, or the lost Hittite capital of Hattusa? Let me know in the comments. And if you like forgotten cities, buried secrets, and history that feels almost impossible, subscribe to ChronoVault, because history doesn't disappear, it waits. But if you don't subscribe, it might.